Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's painting. Give me a thumbs up if you do, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching. I'm using an 11 by 14 by 3/4 inch Artist Loft canvas for this project. So I've made a rough sketch of where I'm going, and I've got my messy palette of water mixable oils. And let me find a brush. And to point out, I've added a couple of new colors because I found some Phthalo blue and Phthalo. I'll be using alizarin crimson, cad yellow, cad red light, ultramarine blue, Phthalo green, sap green, cadmium yellow, raw sienna, and raw umber and titanium white. So first of all, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch flat, or it might actually be a 1 inch flat. And I'm going to use my ultramarine blue mixed with some titanium white, and I'm going to put in my blue sky. It takes me about an hour or an hour and a half to do a painting. One thing I want to point out, I've got the horizon line in here and I measured it on this 11, or is it, what is it? Hold on, it's an 11 by 14 inch canvas, and I have my horizon line at 7 inches, vaguely following the golden ratio rule, not very much along those lines, but so anyway, I have my horizon line at 7 inches, and I'm putting a thin amount of colour on. These canvases, I got them from, I got my canvases from Michael's, and they are archival, acid-free, medium surface, titanium acrylic gesso primed. So there you go. I don't do anything to them, I just paint on them. Now the further away the sea is, the darker it will look. So I'm going to add a little green to the blue and the white. And I'm giving myself a sort of dark sea green color, which I'm going to put on my horizon line, trying to keep it as straight as possible. Now I've sort of obliterated my sailboat, but that's okay, we can always put that in. Trying to keep my horizon line as straight as possible because the painting will look weird if it isn't straight. Now I'm adding a little more titanium white to that colour as we get closer to the shore. And also a little more blue to it, I think. Oops, look what I did to my line. I might add a tiny little yellow to that too. I'm going to take a dry brush and just straighten that line out again. And then I'm wetting it up and just trying to take it out as much as possible. I keep dabbing it on a cloth. Okay, I like the yellow in there, so I'm going to add a little bit more and bring it a little closer. At this point, I'm just putting paint on the canvas. I really feel that that could be straighter, that line, but we'll go with it for now. And this is going to be my wave, so we've got color coming in here. And I'm going to use my raw sienna, and I'm going to put in some sand. There's a bit too much green in there, but that's okay. Perhaps some yellow added to that and some titanium white. And my raw sienna is just a little bit on the dry side, so I'm going to take a little break and see if I can't deal with that. I think we're getting there. I'm going to darken parts of my sky. I'm adding a little alizarin to the ultramarine blue, and I'm just like brushing in some cloud cover. I'm going to put, oh, I've got too much yellow in that, but clouds, you have to think clouds when you're painting clouds, but basically they throw a deep shadow underneath them, and the tops are lovely and fluffy with other colours in them, not just straight white, if you want to make them look like real clouds, because they colour reflects off of them, and you've got the sea throwing up colour and land throwing up colour, and it all shows up in the clouds. That's how I think of clouds anyway. Somebody else will tell you something different. Okay, so there we've got some clouds, and I'm taking a dry brush. This brush is about 1.25 inches, but it's a soft tack-along brush, and I'm just going to lightly cross-hatch over the cloud to give me that soft, fluffy cloud effect. Because clouds of vapor. They look soft. Nothing hard about clouds. And they sort of meld into the sky. And I think I'm going to take another flat and I'm going to put some pale blue. I'm going to run it along that edge of my horizon. And I think that's straightened it up a lot. That's pretty good. I'm fairly pleased with that. I've mixed in more raw sienna. I'm trying to make my sand look a little more sandy in colour. I got it kind of green, didn't I? And I think that looks a bit better, but we'll keep working on it. Or I will keep working on it. Some cad yellow, and I've mixed a little phthalo green in there. And when the light comes through a wave, it has a lovely bright colour to it. So we'll put that in there. Most of it could go away. I'm just putting it in. We'll put some further out. And I'm going to add some blue. Not all of these colours will stay. Putting a curving line there. Curving line in the opposite direction. And we'll okay, it's beginning to take form. Alright, so I'm going to put in some little tiny specks of waves which get larger as they get closer. I'm going to press down on that one a bit more. And I'm going to put the crest on this wave. And down here. perhaps there's more. And the foam. Okay, I think that could be thicker. I'm putting a little more yellow in this end. And I'm putting a little more blue because this crest casts a shadow. So we want it a little darker. So maybe a little more blue and a little more green. And maybe a paler colour pulling down where this wave has already broken. And we'll put a line of light across the top of there too. And this foam is also casting a shadow, a dark bluey green shadow. Under here. Think of it as under the wave, under the crest of the wave. It's got to be lighter on the top and darker underneath. It's going to be lighter where the light hits it and shines through, and darker where the water makes a shadow. There are some really good painters of oceans. There's some really good painters of oceans on YouTube. I would go watch them. Sometimes when you look at ocean water, where the cloud casts shadows, it's darker. Where the sun is catching it, it's lighter, greener. So it's like patchy and different colours here and there. It's very interesting to look at. Okay, so it's coming along. So I'm just going to take a small round and I'm going to, you know where the wind catches the surf and it sort of puffs it up. So I'm going to dot it along and hope for that effect. It sort of, it's not solid, is it, water? and where the foam sort of pulls back, it sort of makes these sort of jaggedy lines and sort of circles. I find I have to work on foam for quite a bit, and you could get quite bored with watching this. So I'm going to definitely cut. So I'm using my tiny brush again, and I'm going to try to put on tiny specks. Where the wind is catching the top of the wave. And you get like a fluffy kind of look. You get a sort of spray coming off the waves, but really, that's easy to paint in acrylics because you can water it down and absolutely just spray it on, but I'm using water mixable oils, and I've never tried spraying those, and it's a messy business. So, and also you get these sort of lines of foam that sort of zigzag a little bit up the waves. Don't want to do too much of that. Just and they're sort of horizontal, these lines. And even these teeny tiny lines cast a shadow. So they get more realistic looking. If you put that shadow in, your foam will look more realistic. So I'm going to do some of that now, just taking the bluey green and just running a little line under some of these white foamy lines. It just, I feel, looks a little more realistic, and keeping it horizontal. I'm not really keen on the underside of that, so I'm going to drag it down again a little bit more. And I think I'm going to put a little more white coming down. I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good as a wave. And think I'm going to use some raw umber, mixing up some raw umber along with that mixture of raw sienna and yellow that I had. I'm just going to put in a couple of, try my hand at a couple of sea oat lines. Not too much, just a suggestion. And I'm taking a fan brush and some sort of greenish colour, and I'm just going to suggest some of the greenery that you see. I'll mix some brown in with that too. Just flick it upwards and sort of drag it down. Just to give a little shape. I'm going to use some raw umber just to stroke in, just to give the idea that there's some shape here. And I feel we need birds. So I'm going to use some blue and some raw umber and make myself a grey, because they will show up grey next to the white clouds. And I'm going to put in just some suggestion of birds. That's pretty good. I think we only need the 3. And then why don't I use my red, and we have a sailboat. I think it was supposed to be around here. And we'll give it white sails. You don't see the mast really, not in my sailboats. Maybe a bit of a shadow. And I'm going to put some green across the bottom there. Maybe a bit more wave. And not totally keen on this. We'll dot it out a little bit. I don't know about my sailboat either. sure I like the red, so I think I'm going to put a brown line across there. I'm not having much success with it, am I? I think I've made my horizon line hilly, so I'm just going to work on correcting that. I think I'd like more foam here, as though a wave has just come in here. Make it a bit dotty. That's a bit better, it's not quite so prominent. Just keep working on it until it gets to where you want it to be. Put in some greens and some blues, and put in more darks and more lights, and just keep adjusting until you reach the point where you feel happy with it. I mean, don't feel that you have to achieve this immediately. It takes time to do a painting, and it's not, you can see it on a 20-minute video, but believe me, it probably took quite a lot longer than you would have thought. Well, the thing I really don't like is my sailboat. I think the sail, I think we should say this is the front end of the boat, and this should come out a little wider at the back, or not. I have to work on that boat. I'm going to make that slightly bluer there. with a wet brush you can correct a lot of your mistakes. You know, I kind of like the idea of putting in some cliffs or something over this edge, which would help with that horizon line too. Now it's very much in the distance, so it really sort of shouldn't be that different than the sky, and you really shouldn't be able to tell where the sea ends and the cliffs or whatever they are begin. So I think that balances out the picture a little better. And I'm not 100% happy with my sailboat. I think it could still do with a little there. But I think we're going to say it's good enough. I think the sail's too big. So I wiped out my sailboat and I sort of made it a little less definite, because quite honestly I'm not good at sailboats. So I would say look carefully at sailboats, and I'm going to stroke this wave along just a little bit, just to blend it a little bit more. I'm going to use a dry brush and just dot this up to give you the impression of foam. I just have to work on it until I get it where I feel I'm happy with it. I don't feel that's... I think I've done better waves, let's put it like that. But I don't think that one's too bad. I'm not happy with the sailboat. I feel that my picture is too green, and I'm going to add blue to some of the areas. I'm going to add it along here. put those in again. I just feel it's just too green. I'm taking a dry brush and just stroking it in a little. Well, as you can see, I'm a little OCD when it comes to waves and foam, and I can pick away at this forever. Um, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and show YouTube that you are enjoying my videos. It helps me a lot if you do that. And I'll see you next time. I don't know what I'm going to paint, but we'll paint something fun. Bye for now, and thank you for watching.